Hello data voyages, Igor Alcantara again, and in today's video we continue the previous video that I published about the MCP. Again, the MCP is the protocol that connects APIs to LLM models. So in the previous video, and I recommend you to watch the previous video, I basically show how to connect Click Cloud with Google Sheets and Postgres database. But again, this is just the technology that I use an example, but you can use any technology. Instead of those, you can use like Snowflake, Databricks, AWS services. It could be basically anything, as long as you have an API available. Sometimes you do have an MCP server ready to use, and then you can use those. You can look at like an official MCPs or some trusted MCPs the community is using in GitHub. But when there isn't, like when we recording this video, Click does not have an MCP server yet. So then we develop our own. So we chose Python as our language, and basically, and it's a pretty simple process. We basically transcribe each API endpoint in the Click API documentation to Python code in the MCP using the MCP naming convention, the MCP structure. So, having said that, now in this video, I will show how we can use that in a different way to connect. Because basically, I show we can get the list of this, get the list of that, calculate sizes, and do estimations, which is pretty useful. However, we can also use to move data from one environment to another environment. And I say data, it could be we can move different things. We can move files, etc. So let me share my screen, and I'll share starting with our last interactions. This was the last interaction, just a quick review. So I asked you to list my Google Sheets that I have available, and I found one that I'm interested in called employee turnover. And I asked you to list my Postgres database, and it lists two Postgres database. I'm not interested in any of those for these use case. And then I asked to calculate, without giving much context, how much I will consume in capacity if I move that table to Click Cloud capacity. And I didn't give an assumption, so it gave me that in QVG. And then I asked, okay, now do the same, but do for Parquet files. And then it did it the same and wrote me a pretty good summary. Now, let me start a new conversation. And let me just say this. Create a new database in Postgres, and let's say called MCP demo, something like that. And let's give it a go. And we'll see that I currently only have two Postgres database. Let's let this run. And as I run, I can see exactly what it's doing, the line of thought. Let me allow the API to be run from here. And then it said it succeeded. And if I go back to the Postgres, I can refresh that. And now I have a new database. Pretty good. Now, let's go back here and let's say very simple task. Get the employee turnover Google Sheet. And I have to specify in this case Google Sheet because I also have access. I allowed access to my Microsoft Office 360, so it has access to my Excel sheets as well. So to make sure I'm talking about Google, not Excel. So employee Google Sheet, and copy that data to a new table in Postgres. The new table should be called employee turnover. and it should be added to the MCP underscore demo database. So we hit run, and now we'll do the process. And then basically we kind of moving data from one environment to another. And we have tested this scenario. I use Snowflake, Databricks, and even creating tasks, as you could see in the Mark Costa video about MCP. Again, in the Data Voyages YouTube channel, you can see all of that. And by the way, I forgot to mention on the previous video, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, Data Voyages. So go to youtube.com/Data Voyages and check our blog, datavoyages.net. Everything we posted is available there. The podcast, the videos, the blog, everything is. Okay, let's take a look at Postgres. Let me make sure. So I have my database MCP demo. Let's make sure to refresh this. And let me expand the schema. Let's go to tables. And that's our table employee turnover. Let's take a look at the columns. And if you look at, they are the same columns we have in the Google Sheet. Great. All right, now I can even come here and I can count rows. And you see that we do not have any rows. Now, let me go ahead and create a new chat. And let me do this. Take all the rows from the Google Sheet employee turnover. And notice when I have a name, I'm putting in quotes. So just making easier for the LLM to understand. So take all of the rows from the Google Sheet employee over and copy them to the Postgres table employee turnover in the database MCP demo. And let's hit run. And so basically, it does not, the LLM does not have a direct way to get data from one source and just like copy and paste, like streaming data from one platform to another. So that's where in the future we can like add some components in Click Talent Cloud, Click Data Integration. But right now, what it has to do is it has to create that bridge, but it'll be smart enough to do it. So what I'm guessing is probably it's going to do some Python code and probably enter the data manually and create the JSON entry in order to do it. But let's see. So I found the table already exists, and it will execute the PG execute query. So it's doing the Postgres query. So let's wait. If this takes too long, I would just accelerate the video so we can get right to the point. This video is already too long. Okay, so interesting that it found that the table was empty before, so it was easy task, and then it executed the insert of the row. So basically, it wrote the insert option, and basically, it just added the all of the. Do not even have to use any. I mean, there's a JSON, but didn't have to do anything Python. Did directly SQL, which was interesting. And then it verified, and it says was okay, but I don't trust it. They can hallucinate. So let's get back here and let's see how many rows we have. And now we have 42 rows. Pretty good. Are they correct? Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's do the query to. So select from employee turnover, and there we go. Those are the columns. All of the columns. These ones I know, which is what I have um, in the Google Sheet. And there we go. So that basically shows you how we can use the MCP protocol, to not only connect different technologies using LLM as a way to interact without having to write code and maintain that code. I do some like tasks in a very agentic AI approach, but also we can do more complex things like creating click apps that Mark Costa showed, running click answers, and calculating capacity, all of those things, and including moving data. Of course, if we have large amounts of data, that's not actually very practical, just like one-off kind of thing, but it works pretty well. Um, so thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned because we'll publish more videos about MCP and other things. We have a lot of plans for the near future. So in order to not miss anything, make sure you subscribe to our podcast, whatever you get your podcast from, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and whatever, and subscribe to your YouTube channel. Everything is free. So you can go to youtube.com/data voyages, and then you can just subscribe and actually click on the notification icon, the little bell icon, so then we receive notification when we publish new content. And finally, go to our datavoyages.net website where we have our blog, podcast, videos, our store, pretty cool t-shirts, everything available there. So then you help to support us and also support us by sharing our content. Thank you. See you next time.